how to produce and star in your own movie, I'll show you step by step of how I did it. Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Zachary. Welcome back to A to the Z Show. I am a filmmaker who loves content. Create a strong vision. Okay, so with this particular vision that I started with, it was already a piece of another thing, right? So the first movie was called Meant to Be, and I did a spin-off of that and implemented what I needed in order to ensure that I be under the guidelines of how I accepted the grant. Okay, so stay with me, I'm gonna explain. So the clear vision was about two women going through the process of having a baby, right? But I had to implement something that allowed me to be under the guidelines of accepting that grant, which I had to mention COVID-19 in a way that, for me, that would tell a beautiful story, so it's not focused on, you know, that crazy time that we went through in 2020. So with that being said, I already had a vision, but I needed to figure out how to implement it together. Okay, so by the time I figured that out, I was like, okay, instead of experiencing the things of how to get pregnant, what if they got pregnant and then the person that was pregnant, they got COVID? What does that look like? And so I know it's a weird twist to it, but in order to stay in the guidelines of the grant that I accepted, I had to do that and still stay true to myself as a storyteller and move forward. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So having a clear vision and not just saying no to everything, but just allowing energy to flow into you, it's gonna push your creative vision forward. So I was able to do that with Same Love, Soul Love. So it went from Meant to Be to Same Love, Soul Love. Okay, and it still incorporated the things I needed as a clear vision and to stay under the guidelines of the grant that I receive, stay under those guidelines. Handling a tight budget. I knew that I started off with $50,000, and one of the goals of the grant was to employ as many people as possible, and I took that to heart. Do you hear me? Like, I was nervous at first, but hold on, stay with me. I was extremely nervous at first because you don't want to leave people out. You want to stay true to your friends. You want to stay true to the business working relationships that you already have. You also want to branch into utilizing new people. It was just so many moving parts for me. And so we had to keep an Excel sheet of the budget, but I also created my budget of how to optimize on who I can hire. So I think I hired at least 75 independent contractors. That is amazing. Okay, so think about that with $50,000, and also with that, making sure I'm optimizing on how much money I'm spending, making sure that the snacks that we're buying for on set or making sure you just keep an eye on the budget and making sure you're giving back to people, right? So the budget was the budget. Okay, I'll go through the budget. I'll show a little something on the screen so you can see how organized I was. You have to be extremely organized. And of course, I'm gonna go into a larger story, which I'm gonna do like a 1 hour, 1 hour and 30 minutes where I break down every single thing. Because even with my budget, I hired a producer that did not fulfill their requirements, and I had to fire them, and now I have to take them to court to get that money back. So technically a $50,000 budget went down to a $46,000 budget, and then it was like leeches was on me. And then I met this another producer, and she was just a complete leech. But you know, we gotta always pray for those people. Amen. All right, so it's okay, but I learned a lot. With money comes greed, and greed comes different spirits of individuals who only is out for themselves, and that's not the case here with me. So it was a lot, but you got to keep an eye on your budget and watch them coins, okay? Because I definitely do that. I watch my money today, every day. control that spending. So keeping the budget together, yes, I could rub 2 pennies together and make it equal 3, okay? So you gotta watch your budget as a producer, as a executive producer, as someone who is a grantee of a grant, because you wanna hold up that end of the bargain. You wanna make sure that you are, because you're held responsible, right? But you wanna make sure you gotta go down with your ship if your ship is going down. You gotta stay up with your ship when your ship is going up, okay? So watching your budget, having people that you can trust is the biggest thing. And I say that with keeping just a handle on that budget. If you're enjoying this video, smash that like button. Click right here for more videos. Balancing multiple roles. As a producer and an actor, I had to handle the creative vision and the logistical tasks. And that can be overwhelming for some people, but for me, if I was going to direct, that would have been more overwhelming. But as a producer, because I am the executive producer, I say who can be hired, who can be fired, and that's a lot of responsibility, right? This requires you to stay focused and plan out things accordingly. Plan out your time. Make sure you are blocking out time for certain things, especially for performance. So as a producer, I was doing a lot of groundwork myself to find people to hire, right? So that was a big thing, and trusting my gut and not my heart to hire the people that will be able to fulfill the things that I need done. And when it comes to the creative side, I know if I'm producing or I got other hats that I'm wearing, I need to hire an acting coach. So that's what I did. I hired an acting coach that helped me build the world from Meant to Be to Same Love, Soul Love. It was the same character, but things had transpired. So ultimately, your character has grown, and those things had to be discovered with my acting coach. That's just me. Some people don't use an acting coach. Kudos to them. But no, for me, if I have other things going on, I am a business owner. I own 2 businesses, A to the Z Show and Up and Coming Actors, and I have a full-time job. And with that being said, that's 3 things that's already taking my focus, right? Not to mention that I have a 15-year-old son, not to mention that my mother, my siblings, and things like that. So with all those moving parts, you have to make sure that you are organized, okay? You have to make sure that you are organized, because if you're not organized, things can be out of place. And even if you're top-notch organized, when it comes down to filming, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Okay, so I say be organized, be over-prepared than under-prepared, okay? So with that, of balancing, managing roles of the creative side and the logistical side, you have to be organized and plan your days accordingly, plan your time accordingly. And that will always be beneficial for you in the long run. Build a committed team. I put together a small professional group of people that I admired and I wanted to work with in order to get the task done. But I also wanted to make sure they were passionate about this project as much as I was. And if they wasn't, that's not a bad thing. That just means not right now for you guys to work together. And with that being said, I tried to do my due diligence. So when I say tried, meaning there was a lot of lessons that I learned in the midst of this, because this is not the only grant that I received, and this is not going to be the last grant that I received. It only goes up from here, okay? What I learned is the team that I have now, I can go back and utilize those individuals in order to proceed forward with a bigger project, right? Because now that I've done a short film, I'm going after a feature film, amen? Okay, so with that being said, I know who I can use, who I can't use, who I would steer away from, things of how I will reach out to get more people with names in order to give a more traction about a story that I'm passionate about telling. So it's all about building a committed team that share the same values and of your project, right? They should be excited about your project. How can they lift you up in the time that you need to be lifted up? Like, stand on my shoulder. I got you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the matter of building a committed team that is excited about your goals, your vision, and the way you want to proceed with. Also, even having your vision, be open to people giving ideas to you. It's okay. It is perfectly fine. Be open. I am definitely a collaborative type of individual. However, I do know what sits in my core, but sometimes you can always take the time just to listen and then marinate on something that someone tells you. It doesn't pay you anything to listen. Overcoming challenges. When unexpected problems come up, like technical and or scheduling problems, be flexible. Because I would say this, technical, you can't really get, you have to wait it out, especially when you're live filming. You have to wait it out, figure out how can we optimize on this. But if your team is strong, they're going to be able to figure it out. And then scheduling, if you have a certain actor in mind that you desire to work with and there's a scheduling conflict and you want to move things around them, that can be good, but that can also be bad. Depending on like, when I say good, meaning like you're flexible, they're flexible, how many people can you get on one day, etc. 15 people, but you're missing that one actor, then maybe you have to recast. Bad, because then you're centering your project all around this person, and that can bite you in the end, depending on any and everything. I say that. So let that sit with you on, you know, allowing things to transpire, but also keeping your vision in mind. Also, keep people around that is able to help you figure out solutions to a problem. That is ultimately going to be the best thing smoking, because if you are bouncing your head against the wall, but somebody else is like, wait a minute, stop. If you put a pillow there, it's not going to hurt as bad. Oh, if we do this, we can do this. That's the solution to the problem. So try to stay in problem solving mode, and I am a problem solver for sure. What's the problem? How can we fix it? Let's do it. Let's move forward. That's the kind of energy you want to be given. If you enjoyed this video, click right here to watch more videos.